Ba-da-dum,
Bum,
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 bum.
bum.
Hey, there it is.
Ring. Pew, 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 pew.
A lot of lasers. A little bit of a technical glitch there at the start, but no worries. Welcome to the Blue Review presented by LAX. I'm Marcas Grant. That is Greg Bergman, and you see lots and lots of lasers. We'll be joined by our pal Jeff Spiegel in just a little bit. But all in all, Greg, good weekend for the Dodgers. They went 2 of 3. It could have easily been a sweep, but look, I will take 2 of 3 against a Phillies team that is playing a lot better now than it was at the start of the season.
100%. That was a great weekend of games. They kept the bat silent. Ryan Ward had a big home run yesterday that we would get into, and I thought the pitching was phenomenal. Starting pitching.
Definitely talk about all of that as well. But first, I want to let you know the Blue Review is powered by LAX. What does it take to build a champion? At LAX, it takes round-the-clock testing. Skylink is being perfected right now to connect you to the airport, the new rental car center, and the metro in under 10 minutes. For more information, visit lawa.org/ESPN. Time now to bring in our pal, Jeff Spiegel. You can see him all over the interwebs doing all sorts of Dodger content. Jeff, happy Monday. Good weekend for you. Good weekend for the Dodgers. Yeah, good to have you back. Good to have the Dodgers winning and playing good baseball as well. 2 out of 3 from the Phillies over the weekend. Want to start though with the one that sort of got away, Jeff, on Saturday against the Phils. Roki Sasaki came out. And we always joke that he's sort of the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to Dodger content. But, Jeff, the positive is, even though the Dodgers did not win that game, Roki continues to look better and really did a good job holding the Phillies down in that when the bullpen let it get away, and we'll talk about that. But I think we're continuing to see improvement from Roki Sasaki.
Yeah, let me start by saying, Marcus, I'm not sure what it says about you that the Dodgers win 2 out of 3, and you immediately.
And I start with,
hey, let's talk about that one they didn't.
Let's just get it out of the way. Let's eat our vegetables first, and then we'll go to the rest of the stuff.
You fit right in with most of the Dodgers fans that I feel like
Dodger Nation right there.
Yeah, exactly. But however, I actually do agree. I think Roki Sasaki is one of the biggest storylines from this, and he just happened to pitch in the loss. It's not his fault. Some incredible numbers as far as fastball velocity. He had thrown 3 pitches over 100 miles an hour as a pro coming into this start. 2 were in his first start ever in Tokyo, and 1 was as a reliever. In this game, he hit 100 miles an hour multiple times. He threw 14 pitches that rated out as 99 miles an hour or higher. And we know that the fastball is not going to grade out well as a pitch because of how flat it is, because of how he throws it. But apparently, Greg, the velocity is a big deal. And I don't say that like facetiously, because there are a lot of guys that can throw 99 miles an hour, but I don't know if the difference between 97 and 99 is where Roki Sasaki becomes successful, but the whiff rate on the fastball was 32%, which is elite, and it allowed everything else to get better because maybe they have a tenth of a second less time to react, so they end up chasing more. He still wasn't in the zone enough, but the results speak for themselves with Sasaki, and I think it's yet another example of a guy heading in the right direction.
Yeah, for me, I think I looked at his last 2 starts, and they are 2 very, very different types of teams, right? Like, so Milwaukee that he played last week, that's a team that's just going to try and just kill you by little cuts over and over and over again. And the Phillies are a team that just want to beat you by the slug. And he did well against both of them. I understand that in versus Milwaukee in that first inning, it was a complete mess. Went 35 pitches. Gary Sanchez saved him. That's the only reason that he got out of that game and got to go through 5 innings. But the fact was that he ended up getting through it and pitching very well against them after that first inning. And this one was kind of is the same thing, but with a different style of team. So he's pitching well against some of the better teams and against teams that do it in different ways. It was nice to see that he's now against guys like Schwarber and Turner and and Harper. Those are guys that can get you, and if they get you, it's going to be tough. We talked about it last week, Marcus. Roki was the guy that we were looking like. If he gets in too close into the zone and he's not hitting his fastball, they're going to hit it, and they're going to hit it a long ways. And he did great against them.
Yeah, no, he did a really good job against them. Went 5 1/3, gave up the 1 run on 3 hits, 7 strikeouts. But the other part of it too, again, another start where he keeps the walks down. Right, he had
Yeah.
just one walk
Hmm.
in that game on Saturday night, and that has been the key to his success. His best starts have come when he is not giving up free passes, because then everything else seems to sort of build off of that. So, I mean, I think everything is sort of pointing in the right direction
Yeah.
for Sasaki right now. I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about him. Um,
Real
that
quick on that, Marcus, because
yeah,
on our show that night, Clint Pasillas, who I know, formerly friend of the show, back when he was willing to wake up early enough for you all.
It's totally him, by the way. That is totally him not
He
wanting to
joked.
get up there.
I know, but he made the point, which I think is fair. Is like the version of Roki that we're seeing is not the version of Roki Sasaki that we all thought we were going to get a year and a half ago. This is now a guy who's throwing 4 pitches, and it's not just fastball splitter and hoping for the best. It's a splitter and a forkball, which are different, and it's a slider. And I don't think we can discount how critical this slider is. He threw the slide, or excuse me, he got 14 swings on the slider in this game and got 7 whiffs. The fact that he has just kind of come up with a third, fourth pitch, whatever you want to call it, that is not only like playable, but is actually incredibly effective, I think is a massive part of the reason that now 2 of his last 3 starts have been really, really good. So he does get to pitch against the Angels next. So we'll be back in, do we care at all about what he does against the Angels territory? I'm guessing a week from now. But man, it feels really good to see this kind of development and improvement and growth, because it hasn't felt linear at all times. But when you look at the game in and of itself, you're like, okay, that's sort of the profile you want from Roki Sasaki.
So real fast on that, it's also like you're talking about the walk rate and all the what he's done over the last. So he hasn't had more than 2 walks since April 12th against Texas. That was his huge bugaboo, right? And he hasn't had more than he's had in his last couple of starts with 3 hits, 4 hits, 4 hits, 6 hits, 5 hits. Then it was on April 25th, there was 7. He gave up 4. But he's as your number 6 starter, he's giving up 1 run, 3 runs, and really keeping the ball in play. I think that's a huge deal. And the home run ball is just not really happening as much as it was in the past either. It is 1 home run. He did give up the home run on Saturday, but besides that, nothing. 0, 0, 1, 1. He's keeping the ball in play. He's not walking guys. He's not giving up that many hits. He's starting to look like the guy that we're talking about.
To the point, the ERA has gone from being 7 at one point to 4.59, which, I guess on an island 4.59 isn't particularly great, but from where he was, it's huge improvement. So definitely good things for that. Don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but obviously the loss on Saturday night, Tanner Scott has it get away. Jeff, anything to make you think this is last year's Tanner Scott coming back, or he just had a bad night?
Tanner Scott had 12 consecutive scoreless appearances prior to this one. We know relievers are going to have bad days. And if you want to know how good Tanner Scott has been this year, he gave up 3 runs in this one inning, and his ERA jumped all the way to 2.19 on the season. 23 of 26 appearances have been scoreless. He's only allowed now 6 earned runs on the entire season. It wasn't great. He missed with the location on the fastball, yada, yada, yada. We've seen it before. I know we have PTSD, but no, not at all concerned about Tanner Scott yet.
I mean, that's kind of where I was too. I just sort of wanted some validation on that one. I'm not super worried about it. It was a rough night. You shake it off. You move on. I'm gonna be okay with Tanner Scott going forward. Let's go back to Friday night though, Greg, because Justin Robleski. Clayton Kershaw was in the building for the game on Friday night. It was on Apple TV. I don't know if in some sort of Freaky Friday-like occurrence, Kershaw touched Robleski on the arm and transferred whatever remaining pitching power he had. But 7 innings were just dazzling against the Phillies. The only blemish, if you will, the home run he gave up to Kyle Schwarber, 9 strikeouts. I mean, Robleski was just amazing on Friday.
Yeah, no, he was electric. His stuff was electric too. He looked like it was. We haven't seen this type of Justin Robleski since he was a reliever and looking this good. That was the best outing I've ever seen from him. Where the swing and miss, and also just the fastball velocity, the fastball getting by guys. It was really nice to see. That was a completely different pitcher than we've seen. I know he's been really good, but coming off his last couple starts, you're like, okay, is he starting to not find it? Starting to kind of go back into the space that he was? this was so much better. I saw people talking about it. I think it might have been you actually, Jeff, on Twitter that was talking about it a little bit about Ben Kasperius, but the people that go from if you're a reliever back to a starter back to reliever, and you kind of get lost in that little mix there. And that, I think it was you, I'm pretty sure, that was talking about that's what happened to Ben Kasperius. We haven't seen him, and Justin Robleski has gotten through that. He said, okay, now he can see that what he's trying to get across the plate, and he has complete control of it, especially against a team like that. I get that they swing and miss a lot, and they were struggling early on, but they weren't struggling. They weren't coming into this game. So Justin Robleski just really showing off what he can do was nice to see.
Yeah. There we go. Look at that. My Twitter up there. I think he came into the season not as a member of the starting rotation. And I just can't believe that a guy who thought he was going to be pitching out of the bullpen, even if he was, quote unquote, built up to be a starter, I just think that impacts you. It impacts your approach. It impacts your rhythm. It impacts all sorts of things. And so I think the hope for a guy like Robleski is maybe he found something. He had allowed 14 earned runs in the 3 starts just prior to this one. And then he comes back and gives up 1 hit. It's a home run, walks nobody, and strikes out 9. I really like Justin Robleski. I think he's going to be effective. It's interesting on the heels of the Roki Sasaki conversation, because I was like, man, Roki's got 4 pitches. Robleski, 89% of the time is fastball slider. In this last one, that I struggle to believe that that's super, super sustainable as a starting pitcher, that you're going to be able to go more than 2 times through the lineup with just 2 pitches. But I guess if only one guy reaches the first 2 times, you can get pretty deep into a game in anyways. But the fastball was up. You mentioned it. He had a 54% whiff rate on his fastball in this game. So everybody's velocity was up against the Phillies. He was up 1 mile an hour. Roki was 1.5 miles. Yamamoto was 1 mile an hour. So maybe the guns were a little hot, but the results matched what the radar gun was saying. So happy for Robleski.
Yeah, no, looked fantastic. Yeah, and you mentioned that the velocity being up, which was notable, right? For a guy that has been the pitch to contact guy, the fact that he was getting so much swing and miss, the fact that he struck out 9 guys, let's say 7, I'm going to shortchange him a couple, struck out 9 guys in that start was certainly just eye-opening. And so, I know that he said afterwards that he feels like, he had a little tweak with his mechanics, but he was feeling good, that everything felt right. And it definitely showed in the results on the field there for them. Then on Sunday, Yoshinobu Yamamoto goes out and does Yamamoto things. And on top of it, Greg, he actually gets run support. Like, it's one thing for Yama to go out and do his thing. It's another thing to do it when he actually has the luxury of being able to breathe a little bit. The Dodgers scored 9 runs on Sunday, and Yamamoto, he gave up 1 run. Actually, no, he didn't give up 1 run. That was the home run in the 9th inning that scored. But it wasn't. It felt like it, I guess, because he went through 5 1/3. It wasn't necessarily clean, but he also struck out 10. I don't know, make it make sense.
Right. Yeah. No, he was not his best self, but against this team that he was getting strikeouts. He had guys on the base and he was throwing a lot of pitches. And that's kind of what the issue was. He only walked a couple of guys, but the fact was that he was not sharp Yoshinobu Yamamoto, but still good enough to get through all of that and be able to mitigate any disastrous innings that could have possibly happened where he did have guys on base. So there was a couple of innings where he just threw way too many pitches. I think he had 2 or 3 innings where he threw over 20 pitches. It just took him a lot to get to that space, unfortunately. But he's still, like we've been talking about, the fact that this team, the Phillies, swing and miss so much, and they're so aggressive. Your strikeout rate is going to go way up in that sense. And the difference for this game was the exact difference what happened on Saturday. That you got hits with runners in scoring position. You got hits when it mattered, whereas on Saturday you had chances. You had 11 base runners on Saturday, and you can only bring in 3. So at that point, and in this one, you had a ton of base runners and brought in 9. So it's just the matter of whether you get that big hit or not. And they got it on Sunday. They didn't get it on Saturday.
One of the guys who got a big hit, Jeff, Ryan Ward. Made his Dodger Stadium debut after playing a couple games on the road earlier this season. Finally hit the home run. I mean, look, there's a good chance we're going to see this guy for a little while with Teoscar expected to be out for maybe a month, maybe even a little bit more. But I mean, Jeff, it was good to see Ryan Ward not only get to playing time, but have a really good day at the plate too yesterday.
Yeah, I joked it was the nobody believes in us game. Like, if you ask Dodger fans, hey, who do you think's going to knock in the first 4 runs? I don't think they would have had Alex Freeland, Ryan Ward, Kyle Tucker, and then Alex Freeland again for the beginning of that. But I just love it for all of those guys. You mentioned Ryan Ward. It's his first career home run. We know he's hit 1 billion of minor league home runs. So the fact that he gets to come up to Dodger Stadium and get one out is awesome. And for Alex Freeland, too, who's getting another shot. I know there's a lot of fans that are really down on him, but for him to have an RBI double and then to put one over the wall as well. Kyle Tucker, 106-mile-an-hour laser off the right field wall. So it just felt like one of those games where you want the offense to score 1 million runs, but if you could choose to maybe get a couple guys out of a funk and get some guys rolling who, to your point, Ryan Ward's going to be in the lineup. Like, Alex Freeland is going to be in the lineup. So if those guys can get going, I think it's huge, and their ability to string together runs, lengthen the lineup, and turn things over back to Ohtani with guys on base.
Yeah, I mean, just the bottom lineup coming through. You talk about people being down on Alex Freeland. My wife, who is just a big fan of Hye-Sung Kim, yesterday watched.
She doesn't have to choose. Tell these Dodger fans you don't have to choose. You're allowed to like both of them. You know.
Apparently, that's not how it works.
No.
Freeland would do stuff, and while she was, very happy that the Dodgers scored runs, she would always follow it up with, "I still want Kim, though." I still apparently.
So you tried telling Jean that the guy that replaced Hye-Sung Kim, her Korean brethren, tell her that, because that's not the way it works.
But regardless. He played well, hit the ball hard a couple times, and even had a great play to end the. So he had the play with 2 outs in the ninth where he sort of throws the ball away after a really nice stop, but then finishes it up with a really amazing backhand flip to get over to Espinal to end the ball game. So even the defense showing up for Alex Freeland yesterday in a really big game for him. So now here we are. Today is June 1st. We have made it through the first 2+ months of the season. And Greg, for all remember the hand wringing a couple of weeks ago when they weren't scoring runs and they were only half a game up on the Padres and things seemed like they weren't particularly going great. They've won 14 of 17. They're 17 games over 500. And look at that, Greg, a 5.5 lead over the Padres. Maybe things are going to be okay.
All of a sudden, hey, the Padres actually threw a ticker tape parade after they took that half game lead. Okay, so that was a big deal to drop behind them for one moment, an actual full day. But yeah, no, this team was always going to be okay. They just weren't getting the big hits. They are now. I mean, it's okay to the issues that we talk about, since we have to talk about it every single day, is a real thing, and that's why people come in here to listen to us, and they want to vent their frustrations as well. I totally get it, but yeah, they're going to be just fine. They're better than basically every team out there. You can argue there's a couple that might be better, like not even better, like can challenge them a little bit more. But the Braves are really good. Even if you go to Tampa Bay, which is the weirdest team ever, by the way. Tampa Bay, I saw the whole thing where like they're at the bottom in hits, they're in the bottom in slug, they're the bottom in so many different categories, and they're still leading everything in the American League. But yeah, this team has looked like it's supposed to. And it really starts with the starting pitching. The fact that the starting pitching has been so good for a while, and actually just pitching in general. The bullpen is the best bullpen in baseball. And now you have the hitting all of a sudden starting to catch up to it, and the guys that are supposed to hit actually hitting. It looks like, oh, this is the fun team that I like to watch. And it happens every year, right, Jeff? There's always one where they go 42-10. And this seems like that stretch that they're going through right now.
Yeah, Marcus, I'm curious your thoughts. We were talking last night on our show. How many of the offensive players do you feel like are actually living up to expectations or exceeding expectations? I think our guy Lover to listed Andy Pages is definitely an exceeding expectations guy. I think Max Muncy would be a meeting expectations guy. But other than those two, Marcus, like of the kind of core 7 or 8 starters that they have, is anybody actually meeting or exceeding expectations on this offense right now?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you could even say, Shohei is below expectation. I mean, it's solid.
It's only an 890 OPS. It's only an 890 OPS.
Right. I mean, like, here's the thing. What Shohei is doing would be great for 90% of the guys in the league. But because it's Shohei Ohtani, we're like, hey man, like
Right.
where are the power numbers, right? We're not seeing the power numbers the way we're used to. So like he's probably below expectation. You could say the same for Freddie. Obviously, Mookie hasn't really he started to actually hit a little bit over the weekend, but it hasn't been consistent. I think you're right. Up and down the line of Will Smith, Kyle Tucker, all it sort of stinks that Freddie Freeman. It stinks that Teoscar Hernandez got hurt when he did, because he was actually starting to swing it well and look like the Teoscar of old. But no, I think you're right. I don't think this team really has, offensively at least, played up to its potential. I think you can look at the record and give a big pat on the back to the pitching staff, both starting and relieving staff, for getting them kind of where they are, because the offense hasn't really found itself yet. I still think that's coming. I still think we're going to see more consistent offense from this group. And so, us having this conversation is probably really bad news, certainly for the rest of the NL West, and maybe for the rest of the National League as well. I don't know. I mean, Jeff, we talked about this last week with Anthony Vetrano. Does this team need to have a bye? I mean, it's always a good thing, but there have been years when they definitely have needed it. There have been other years where maybe not so much. Does this version of the Dodgers, do they need to get a first-round bye?
Well, social media keeps telling me that the Dodgers already won the World Series this year because they just look at payroll. And so the Dodgers, because they have the biggest number, it's just guaranteed.
So that means they beat the Mets in the World Series?
As it always happens that way. Look, I am all in by the way. What's that?
You can thank Rob Manfred for that, for like calling out the Dodgers specifically when talking about the talent disparity. But
I'm all in on you need the bye, because there's just too many stupid things that can happen in a 3-game series, and I want nothing to do with it. I mean, the Dodgers played the Giants a couple weeks ago and lost 2 out of 4, and the Giants are a half game out of being the worst team in Major League Baseball. Stupid things can happen in this sport, and so I think they need to, and I don't even think they're going to need to try very hard to do it. I mean, we mentioned the starting pitching, how good it has been. 2 of their top 4 guys are out. You could make a case, potentially 3 of their top 5, because River Ryan is sitting down in the minor leagues, striking out 1 million guys, walking nobody, and there's no place for him. So they haven't been healthy on the pitching side of things. We just mentioned the offense. 2 of the top 7 guys are meeting or exceeding expectations. And then you have the bullpen, which I covered this on my own channel, but the sneaky thing about the bullpen, part of the reason I think they've been so successful, Greg, they have pitched the least innings of any bullpen in Major League Baseball. The starters are going deep into games. The bullpen is not getting overtaxed. And then you have 8 dudes that you trust out there to be effective. I don't think that's a coincidence, even in the slightest, that their innings pitch number is so low.
So that it's interesting you mentioned, like, because everything, especially when it comes to the Dodgers, you think to yourself, Dave's never going to allow anybody good to go over 100 pitches. 100 pitches, it's going to be around 90. They're never going to go. Guys are going over 100 pitches consistently. I think Yoshi has gone over 4 times this season now. Yeah. And I think Robleski has gone over. Shohei has gone over. So I think they're allowing guys to go deeper into games, which leads to what you're talking about, Jeff, where you don't have to pitch that many innings. If you have that's how everybody thought baseball should have worked back in the day, Marcus, where like you think you 100 pitches for a guy, and then you get through 6 or 7 innings, and then you have your bullpen pitch 8 and 9 or 7, 8, 9. And that's typical. That had not been the case for the Dodgers, especially last year when that's where the bullpen got so taxed. And now you have a pitching staff right now, which is so deep and still goes. And you're not even talking about Gavin Stone, Jeff. Like, he was one of the best pitchers they had on this team and looked incredible coming out of spring training until he got hurt again. So, like, there's other guys too. So if you have guys that are going to go deep into games, it's going to make everything so much easier.
Yeah. Wild that they went from last year having the most innings pitched by their bullpen guys to the least innings pitched by their bullpen guys. Crazy the difference that a year
Roki
makes.
would only go like an inning or 2, or maybe 3 innings, and then Shohei was going 1, so we had to have a piggyback. It changed it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, real quick, Mark, by the way, if you want to be a troll at any point today, Alex Freeland's OPS is now higher than Ha-Seong Kim. So if you want to drop that nugget in at some point today or over the next couple of days, I'll just give that to you for free.
Thanks, appreciate it. I will use it judiciously for sure.
Dodgers,
Dodgers started a road trip, first of 4 games in Arizona. 6:40 first pitch tonight. It's Emmett Sheehan going against Eduardo Rodriguez. Jeff, real quick for the folks who maybe don't know, where can they find you right now?
Yeah, I'm in 2 places. Bleed Dodger Blue is my own YouTube channel, which has been awesome to get started. I try and post something once a week on Thursday. I believe Katie Wu is going to be on with me this week, so that should be a lot of fun. And then 3 nights a week, I'm on the All Dodgers podcast, All Dodgers on YouTube or All Dodgers podcast, anywhere you get your podcast with Clint and Jeff. And that's been a ton of fun. And a ton of people have been tuning in, so we appreciate it.
Very cool. Be sure to check them out in both of those places where you can. Stick around. The Sedano Cap Morning Extravaganza coming up right after us. But that'll do it for this edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. Thanks to everybody in the chat for hanging out as always. Thanks to Tim for production assistance. For Jeff, for Greg, I am Marcus. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 to 6:55 here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. See ya.
See ya.
Technical difficulties.